Wait a sec. Oh, yep, there we are. Okay. Hello.
Guys.
How's it going?
All right. So we just got done watching Loki,
Mm-hmm.
season 2, episode 2, and we
Mm-hmm.
are going to discuss our thoughts on it. Yeah. So Caleb, how overall, how'd you feel about this?
Do you want to start? You want to
Want me
start?
to start? I can
Yeah.
start. All right.
Yeah.
The episode started off, and it was going on, and I liked it. I really loved like the interrogation stuff, and I feel like Loki popping off. I loved Owen Wilson. I was loving it. I thought this was great. Then they went to McDonald's,
Hmm.
and just the episode dropped from there. And uh,
I thought it was bad before then. We'll have to talk about
at
the
what point?
points. The interrogation is where it really went off for me.
Hmm, that's interesting.
Okay, I guess so any non-spoiler review to bother with really? Not really, right?
Nah,
Uh,
I yeah. All right, we're gonna get into spoilers.
this is a weird
Um,
one, man.
yeah. If you haven't seen this episode and you don't want to be spoiled on it, go ahead and get on out of here. Come back and watch the replay when you're done watching it.
Yeah.
All right, let's hop into spoilers.
You're lagging a little bit.
Yeah,
I wonder if this is coming through on stream. I think it's fine. So this one was weird
let's talk about let's
because the
real
the
quick. Let's
the highs were high and the lows were pretty low.
yeah.
So what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say let's hit all the positive stuff, the stuff we liked about the episode first,
Yeah. Can
and
I go
then
first with
we'll
this one?
go for it.
Just naming stuff off. I really love the way this show is shot. Like the way it's colored, the way the camera moves. I really like it. I know it's not like an objective like story complaint, but just looking at it, it looks hot. And whoever did the color correcting and the cinematography, I really love it. So I like that a lot, and it's hard not to notice. I think they've done a really good job with the production design and the costume design, and yeah. Anyway,
Um, Tom Hiddleston's great.
yeah.
Owen Wilson's great.
Mm-hmm.
The new guy's great. I like him.
I feel like
Uh,
Owen Wilson's better in this season than he was in the first one.
he really is. I think Tom Hiddleston's better in this season.
I would, I think I agree
I don't know. Maybe Loki's just coming off a little bit more powerful.
for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool to see that. Yeah, I like that. And like to be fair, well, I didn't necessarily think this episode was great. It's not nearly as bad as a lot of the other bullcrap Marvel's been putting out.
Yeah.
Now, does that give it an excuse for some of the stuff they did in this? Not really. Now, I don't think they didn't really crap on any legacy characters or anything. Like that was fine.
They
Which
kind of did in some ways.
which one?
I'll talk about it when we get there, I guess.
Okay.
Um yeah, I don't think it did necessarily anything worse than season 1 did, but it was still
Oh.
there's stuff to talk through for sure. So
Um,
the intro is just them chasing around this actor guy, and they really let Loki shine. They give him all of the magic. They make him come across as super powerful. They give him this cool shot as he's walking down the alley, and it's super shaky. And you get the sense just with the shadows that you're gonna get this Loki who's very in control and powerful and magical and who scares people. And I really loved that intro.
yeah. Yeah, that was all that was cool. Did have one question on that when he So first off, he and the one guy, what's the one guy's name?
X-15 was it?
X-15. So X-15 and Mobius are talking, and
Mm-hmm.
then Loki blasts him with his magic, and then proceeds to chase him for 30 seconds and
Right.
doesn't do it again. But maybe he was just wanting to mess with him. I don't know. I really love the scene where he had all those people surround the guy, then it was actually the illusion,
Yeah.
and then he backs him up to the wall and like those two shadows are holding the guy down. Like that was all awesome. I loved that.
So,
Um
yeah, from what we're looking at, X-15 is some sort of TVA agent who's decided to. I had this question. So it looks like he's trying to inhabit his older life before he was brainwashed to become a TVA agent. Is he reinserting himself into a timeline, or did he like kick someone out of his life? How does this work with him like taking his life back? I don't understand it.
I I don't either.
I think
I was
that
a
could
little
be,
lost at some
yeah.
point.
They need to explain how that's been working if he's just
Um
able to reinsert himself.
yeah.
Um
Yeah,
I
no.
don't understand. But the yeah, the intro, it wasn't perfect like you said. I think he could have like blasted him, but when you start off that way, you get the impression that even just the way the camera focuses on one Loki and you realize that it's not the real Loki and it moves to the right and you see, oh, you get the impression that Loki is very much in control and that they're not trying to crap on him in any way. Um,
Yeah.
which they then go back on later in the episode. So I don't know. What were your other thoughts or notes?
Well, I liked that. I think like so they go back, right? And I'll be honest, the stuff with oh, what's the one dude, the scientist guy,
Oh, Obi?
Obi, yeah. I was a little lost on what the heck he was doing, but
Yeah, they have yet
like
to explain like the logic from that.
I'm just kind of rolling with it. I like hopefully they'll explain it.
Yeah.
The whole jail scene where they kind of go to interrogate him. I thought Tom Hiddleston's acting for that was really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Acting all around was great for that.
I think you actually are right that he's better in this season than he was in the last. However, I guess we'll get to this later, but when he does come across Sylvie, he goes back to that season 1 version where he starts stammering and being short of breath, and it was really weird to see.
I mean, part of that is that they're trying to show is that, like he's in love, but
It's a really weird way of doing it, and I thought they
yeah,
were, yeah.
it could be done better. I wouldn't call it crapping on him just yet because I feel like Loki season 1 that was kind of overall, like everywhere he went, he was just kind of mid.
Yeah.
Here he's at least you get that difference. Like he is staying strong on the mission, and then when he sees, that one person that he's in love with, maybe he like loses his composure a little bit. That is a little realistic. Now, is it still a little weird, and does it still give me a little PTSD from season 1?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it's
But
very Loki, you know.
yeah, no.
So, oh yeah, we have that what's the intro? Oh, they're trying to figure out that whole like device that he, cuz X whatever apparently took a device from Sylvie and they're trying to figure out like what he was doing with it from what I can
Yeah,
understand.
it's one of the temp pads that they used to
Yeah.
like teleport around, and he like put his own modifications on it. So they're like trying to figure out why he did that.
Mhm.
Mm.
Then they have this basically they're trying to get from X, whatever his name is. For some reason, I kept on writing down. He's like this actor guy. He thinks he's an actor, and they go to ask him, and they do this whole thing where he gets under people's skin. And the way they do it with Loki really, really bothered me. Um, did that bother you at all? The way he was talking about him?
I mean, I never felt like he. really got underneath his skin.
He didn't, but what he was saying, he kept on calling Loki like you know,
Yeah.
a very weak man, and how he and Sylvie ruined everything, and he made all sorts of like very personal attacks, and he kept on emphasizing that he was weak, and then he rattled off a whole bunch of things that he and Sylvie did in the TVA, which I didn't think were like public information. I don't know, just him constantly calling him like weak and pathetic felt very reminiscent of the first season, and it bothered me.
Yeah, I didn't I didn't really have a problem with it because I took that more as, he's somebody who's worked at the TVA and obviously he's seen all these different variants. He's apparently they're there for like thousands of years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That I would love if they would explain that.
Yeah.
Um, if that's the case, then obviously he's probably seen multiple variants of Loki. And like Mobius said beforehand, he's a jerk, don't let him get in your head. And so he was obviously just trying to get in his head there. I think that's like and when Loki has his comeback, I actually kind of liked his comeback because it felt like he at first like you think like okay, he's going to snap and it's going to be lame. And then he does this pretty awesome comeback. Um, and I like that they had Mobius be the one that snaps there. I thought that was kind of cool.
Well, okay, so that was another way I felt like they were crapping on Loki, because they have that scene where Loki gets all quiet, and like you're saying, he has that comeback and he starts towering over him, and then you find out that all of that tension is just coming from the music because they cut it, and suddenly the scene is just completely awkward, and then Mobius has to like separate them, and he's like, "Okay, you two," like they're like two 5-year-old kids, and I don't understand why you would have Loki as this figure, you know, have him towering over him, telling him about how he's gonna like, you know, mess him up or whatever. Build him up as this really terrifying person, you know, tell the audience that X or whatever is scared of him. And then for some reason you just completely undermine that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I never really took it that way. Um, it could have been done better. I mean, personally, I was hoping that Loki would have just absolutely rocked it
Yeah,
right there.
same.
That'd have been awesome. They didn't do that,
That felt like
which
what they should have done.
I'll get into the thing with when Loki comes in to
Yeah.
torture him or whatever later, because I liked parts of that, but there were also parts of that that I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunity there.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, they have that whole scene, and then he turns to Mobius. He gets him all riled up. Mobius socks him in the face. Then they go out and they have their heart to heart over key lime pie, which, by the way, makes me like Mobius a lot more because key lime pie is very good. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um
I don't know what your thoughts are on that scene.
I think maybe my least favorite scene in the entire thing is when Loki's right there and they cut the music because it's just awkward. And then Mobius is like, all right, calm down. And you just get the impression that because they spent the entire intro making Loki so cool and then they just completely revert. But then, yeah, they go back to, they eat pie and then they have a different tactic. Um, Oh, during the pie conversation, Loki said another thing that really bothered me. He said that he didn't always react very well, and he said, "This is what I meant by, you know, crapping on original characters." I guess maybe it's not exactly what you meant, but he reframed what he did in the Avengers as him just being super angry at his father and Thor, which is just inaccurate.
Hmm.
Like he went there
I'd
on
have to.
behalf of Thanos, and in this one he says, "Oh, the entire reason I did what I did, I threw Tony Stark off of Avengers Tower, is because I was angry at my father and at Thor." It's like, no,
I
that's not how
mean,
it went. That's not what
I think
happened.
I feel like that is part of it because we see that from Thor one. I feel like it's more. It's not that that's not part of it. It's just he's leaving out a few extra details that it might also be Thanos and power and glory and whatever the heck he says in that movie.
Well,
Um,
up until this time, it was because he was working for Thanos. Although I think Marvel at one point made some sort of statement that Loki had been mind controlled by Thanos over the events of that movie. So
I
I
have heard about that.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. It was a weird sentence.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really take it that way because I think he always has been angry at Thor and Odin. I
Hmm.
think that is part of his character. Um, I think you could say, yeah, he's obviously leaving out a lot more with Thanos and stuff. I feel like there's a lot more context there. Um, I wouldn't say that's impossible to believe, though, that he's still angry at Thor and his father. I mean, I feel like that
Yeah.
very much shows in Thor: The Dark World. Like he's obviously still angry at them.
Yeah, I'm not denying that he is, but he says in this episode that basically the events of Avengers were all a reaction to the way that they treated him, which is a total retcon if that's accurate.
He could be getting like, if you get super technical and you go back to Thor 1, I guess like the reason he ended up meeting Thanos was because of Thor and Odin and him getting angry at them. You could
Yeah,
technically say that. That's a
you're
little
not
weird for him to
wrong.
go and say that. Well, yeah, like I'm not wrong, but it is a little weird.
Yeah, I guess I'm willing to hear some other people out on it, but I definitely felt like they shouldn't have made him say that.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
but then he goes back and you can, yeah.
what happens after that? I think.
So he goes back into the torture room or into the interrogation
Oh
room.
yeah, and we have the torture scene. Um, I wish so. Basically, they have this torture scene, and it's all fake. It's supposed
Hmm.
to make it look like Loki locked Mobius out of the room, and he's gonna try and torture X-15 by himself. It's all fake. I wish the acting. I feel like it all could have been done better to make it a little bit more believable. Um,
I do not like this ex actor guy. I think he's really bad. Like he has his
yeah,
moments, but I really, yeah, I don't vibe with him.
that's interesting.
What is this? Is his
I
name actually X-15?
It might be.
Let me
Um,
see.
yeah. So Loki puts him in this little like box thing and starts shrinking it and asking him for details and stuff, which like the box thing was cool, I guess. I personally would have liked to see him go all Batman on him, but
It's
I
actually
guess that's
X5. Sorry.
oh X5. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't have a massive problem with it. I was just like I feel like there was a lot of missed uh opportunity there.
I agree.
And I feel
I
like
think they were close in some ways, but
yeah, it could have been a lot cooler, but
um one thing that
yeah.
sort of did bother me from that as well. Again, this second episode really feels like a weird Loki. Like they go back and forth between making him really cool and making him sound lame, but you can hear Mobius yelling. And I understand, I guess this could be acting, but in the moment I heard him yelling that Loki's not a bad guy. And I know that could tick a lot of people off, especially people who are of the very strong opinion that this Loki should be a lot worse since he's from the first Avengers movie.
I think that's more just Mobius being Mobius.
Yeah, that's what it's got to be, because if that's supposed to be accurate.
Half of what Mobius says when he makes a joke, I don't take it too deeply because that's more just his character.
Yeah, I do wonder. I can't remember. Was there a thread on Loki not being a bad guy or being a bad guy in the sentences that they had said? Because I felt like that kind of came out of nowhere.
I don't know.
Okay. I mean, yeah. Could just be a
Yeah.
random thing. It felt weird to just hear it out of nowhere, though.
Yeah. So yeah, it ends up like he squishes him really tightly in
Mm-hmm.
this little like box thing, and he's asking the guy, where's Sylvie? And so they find out that that guy was supposed to go track down Sylvie. He found her, and then he went and like to go create his own life. And so yeah, then they go into what's being called the McDonald's timeline now by a lot of people, which I find kind of funny.
You know how many
They
people
go,
are shipping Loki and Mobius right now? Don't go on Twitter. Twitter's a bad
I mean
place.
that doesn't surprise me at all.
There was one like small thing too when he's trying to escape from Loki in the room before he's imprisoned. He's backing up and he could easily just open the door since Loki shut it behind him, and he just doesn't. I didn't understand that. It felt like a weird undersight, but yeah. Anyway, McDonald's, sorry.
Yeah. So they go to McDonald's and they have X5 with them. And this is where the episode started to lose me
Mhm.
cuz they go in. Loki's just like, "All right, I got this."
He's like, "Oh,
And then
oh guys. Oh my. Oh, I got to approach
y-
this girl now."
yeah, and so he's super awkward.
Mhm.
And he goes up and basically they go outside to talk. And then Mobius and this guy sit down to have McDonald's. And I thought it was funny at first, some of the stuff Mobius was saying. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's kind of funny. And then he alludes to there being like something that X5 is afraid of.
Mhm.
And something about the way that whole scene went down just did not sit right with me.
It was weird. They had him talking about his movie and just asking questions for like a straight minute. It just went nowhere.
Yeah.
Also, I had
Um,
a question because they all, because, okay, why were they, because the TVA was supposed to be looking for Sylvie, right? And why was, can you help me out? Why was Loki supposed to be looking for Sylvie with Mobius? What were they trying to find out? Because I thought they were gonna find her to figure out what happened with Kang and what her viewpoint on the consequences of that were. And then he gets there and it's just about something completely different.
it lost me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they go out and they talk, and she's all mad at him for whatever reason.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, too bad. Leave me alone. I want to be here. Leave me to my life."
Yeah, and so then Mobius and X5 come out, and Mobius is just like, oh, something's coming. This guy knows something, and X5. Basically, also, I mean, this might be my own fault. I got my expectations really up there for what the larger threat was. I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be something really cool, and then they were just like, oh, yeah, it's all these TVA agents, and I was like, dang, that kind of disappointed me. But
I think it's interesting as long as they can take it somewhere. Kind of cool. I do like also that they're like acknowledging what pruning timelines is, even though again it doesn't make sense with their morality flip, but they openly are like, yeah, that's killing billions of people. That's what pruning does. That's what they're doing.
yeah, so they kind of figure that out, and then what is it? Do they go back to the TVA and they see like in the TVA they see all these timelines getting pruned,
Yeah.
and so then they try and go to stop that. And there's this weird scene in the warehouse where they fight all the TVA agents, and there's all these portals where they're going out and trying to prune different timelines.
Yeah.
And dude, some of that choreography was not good.
Really? I didn't take a good look at it.
It was
It was shot very well. So I was more paying attention to
it
that.
was weird the way some of that the camera angles were and just the way it kind of flowed. I couldn't put my finger on it.
I'll have to slow it down
Um
and take a look at it.
I did like when Loki and Sylvie like they like grab hands and they do that like big shockwave thing. That was cool. Um
Yeah, Loki's like using his powers now, which is cool to see.
yeah, That's kind of cool. I wish he would like use his OG suit because Sylvie can do that, so I don't see why Loki couldn't do that. Like that'd be kind of cool. Maybe we'll see him later do it later in the show. But um,
They're trying to forget that he's that character.
yeah, kind of frustrating.
I will have to slow down that choreography because again, I thought it was shot very well, but I'll have to slow it down.
I don't.
Um,
It felt very lackluster. That's the word I was looking for.
it wasn't. I guess from the trailers, I would have thought that that's going to be like a 5 minute long extended fight scene, and it just wasn't that.
Dude, it felt like it was just the trailer shots. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you're
Um,
not wrong. I am confused on what they wanted from Sylvie though, because again, I thought all the TVA was looking for her because they were like, "Man, what's going on with Kang?" I can't remember what they said in that boardroom, and then
I'll
Sil,
have to.
yeah, and then
I'll have to go back and do a rewatch.
Loki talks to her, and he's just like, I can't even remember what he says. He's just like, "Hey, uh, man, what did he even ask for her?" He wanted her to come back to the TVA for a second for some reason. What was that again?
Yeah, he wanted her to come back to the TVA, and then she's like, "No, I like my life here."
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so they do all that.
And Mobius
They
just
go
doesn't have
back.
a perspective on it. He's just sitting in the McDonald's dining area just eating. It was
Yeah.
weird.
So this is the part that bugged me
Hmm.
when they back in the TVA. Um, was it B-15?
Yeah.
She's there, and then like Loki and Mobius are there, and they're seeing all these timelines that are pruned, and everyone's acting like, they're like, oh, millions of people are dying, or billions of people are dying, or whatever they say, and they're like, I felt like the show was trying to tell me this is sad, you should be sad, but I felt absolutely nothing.
Yeah, well, they've done a really bad job of like showing the consequences of pruning timelines on like an individual level.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe if they would have pruned like the McDonald's timeline, I
Sure.
would have felt it a little bit more. That could have been something they do.
No, you're right,
Maybe
because
if
they
they,
just grab you out. They show you B-15, and
yeah.
she's like, "This is sad."
Either just do a quick like 30-second thing of like maybe seeing like timelines and like cities being pruned or like something. Make
However,
me
it
feel something.
works. Yeah.
But it's all off screen. So how am I supposed to feel something for all these people if it's all off screen and I'm not seeing any of it?
Mm, I feel like you could, but they've just described the consequences so like terribly, and again, they do really pull you out.
Yeah.
Um, I guess the question you end up with more than really caring about the people who have gotten pruned is, how is this going to affect the characters that we actually know and care about here? Because
Hmm.
it's really weird
Like
because the TVA has been doing this for millennia.
it's like let's say for example, let's take Star Wars. Imagine if on the planet if like Alderaan, the planet that's blown up by the Death Star, imagine if that happened off screen.
Yeah.
You wouldn't feel it.
Well,
Um,
okay, so in Oppenheimer, they bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki off screen, but that's because the point is that it's all about Oppenheimer who's dealing with the consequences of that. But this show insists that you feel sad about it, and we have no context for it. We don't know how it affects the characters really, because they've been doing it for ages.
yeah. And I mean, for all you Attack on Titan fans out there, imagine if the rumbling happened off screen. You'll know what that is soon, Caleb.
Yay.
But imagine if that happened off screen. Like that would have sucked. You wouldn't have felt anything. So, stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's gonna be a little brutal. It might be a little sad, but it would make you feel sadness for all these timelines getting pruned, all these people's lives being ended. But it's just off screen. I feel like the show's just trying to tell me, like, oh, you need to be sad about it.
Well, this is part of the problem with the multiverse is that you're dealing with a scale that isn't even comprehensible to us. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like they've handled the pruning timelines thing very badly because season one told us that when you prune a timeline, and we don't know if this is a limited area or if it literally prunes the entire universe, as in galaxies, planets, spaceships, including the Earth, and then it sends all that matter to the end of time. And they've just done such a terrible job of explaining, is this literally every single person in the universe dying in this? It's also making me wonder, right? So they took the multiverse and they just cut it back down to the universe. How does this work with Spider-Man No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness? Because now
Yeah.
there isn't one, and so all of those stories are impossible. I don't know, dude.
I don't know, man. They need something to explain all this. I'm also curious how this is all gonna tie into Deadpool 3
Oh my
because
goodness.
I've heard the TVA is gonna be in Deadpool 3.
I've heard the TVA is going to be in the final Avengers movie.
That
So,
would make sense.
if they actually manage to incorporate this into the world in a way that makes sense, I think I can be fine with that. But right now, this is so disconnected from the rest of the
We're gonna
MCU.
need some serious explanation.
Yeah, dude, this time loon crap, I don't know what's going on with it. Like, what does that
Yeah,
mean, converting time into a timeline?
I don't know, man. I hope we get some explanation by the end of the show. I
Yeah.
would say for me personally, that part where the show was like trying to make me feel sad, that was like my least favorite part of this episode because that's where it completely dropped the ball, at least for me, and it just lost me. And I was like, dude, you're trying to make me feel sad about something that I'm not even seeing.
Hmm. Yeah, for me, I really enjoyed. So with this episode, I don't know. For me, it was kind of like a. It wasn't like this, but the feeling I got was the same feeling I get when I watch a lot of Snyder movies. As in, there are a lot of plot holes, but it's really fun to watch, and the actors are always great, and the cinematography was great. Given the fight choreography wasn't, but I really enjoyed watching this episode. Is it good? I don't think so, but I would I would rewatch it, I think. So,
Yeah. I feel that too. Like I was having a fun time.
mhm.
Um and like you said, part of it's the actors. The actors are so good.
Yeah, dude.
Uh Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson just steal every scene that they're in.
They have like
Uh
really great chemistry too.
they do, and I like that there's kind of like this almost buddy cop feel with them,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of fun. It just started losing me towards like the end of the episode. Um,
Mhm.
you know, but so the episode, so all that happens. Sylvie ends up coming to the TVA. She says bye to Loki, and then she leaves. And then the episode ends with Sylvie sitting on her truck, and she says bye to her coworker.
How do you feel about
Oh, and she still has the thing that was on Kang's desk. I forget what it's called.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about Sylvie? Do you think she's portrayed any differently in this season than she was in the last?
They didn't give me enough time with her for me to make that call. Um,
She's slightly more annoying than I remember her being, but I think the show is a little bit more aware of it.
yeah. I wasn't necessarily thrilled to see her,
Mm-hmm.
and I think X5 kind of nailed it when he was talking about Loki and Sylvie's relationship, and he said it's really weird, and he is very right about that.
Dude, that
Um,
X5 actor is really weird. He's got some weird intonation, some weird mannerisms. I don't know if you paid attention to him,
yeah,
but
I did. I like there are some scenes where he does a good job.
yeah, I agree.
I did like. I liked his opening when he was first
Mm-hmm.
walking into the um like walking down the red carpet and
Thought
he's
that was
saying,
all really solid, yeah.
yeah. Um which then again, I think the opening of this episode might be my most favorite scene. But like the whole Loki chase and whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I here's the thing. This show, it's not nearly as bad as Loki season 1. So, I'm still optimistic about it. I'm still gonna come back for it. I haven't hung up the hat for Marvel just yet.
Yeah.
So,
I got weird
I'm
feelings on
hoping,
this episode. Yeah.
yeah, I I really hope I really hope the show pulls it through, cuz it'd be cool to have like, dude, when was the last time have any of the Marvel shows actually had like an ending that was liked by most of the fan base? Not
Uh
WandaVision.
no, not at all
WandaVision
WandaVision.
WandaVision was controversial. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was
Falcon
controversial.
and the Winter Soldier had the do better line, which turned into a meme.
Yeah, Moon Knight and Hawkeye were just mid.
Yeah,
She-Hulk
every
is
one of
a
them
thing.
end the same as like a Marvel movie. They're unable
What
to
about
break away.
what about Miss Marvel? I never saw that,
Miss
so
Marvel, the ending was fun. It was like a teen rom-com style of a Marvel ending battle. I don't know.
mm,
It was fine, I guess. Um
yeah.
Oh, She-Hulk, that really did break the mold. That really, when she pops onto Disney Plus and talks to Kevin Feige, it was definitely different for sure.
Yeah, it definitely was.
What was that show? Anyway,
I never watched it, so
I remember explaining the ending to you and Paul, and you asked me if I was joking. I'm like, I can honestly say I'm not joking right now, but yes, she literally goes on to
I thought
Disney
you were
Plus.
joking. Dude, I thought you were joking that entire time. Oh man.
Anyway,
Well, hopefully this show can bring it home. I think the Loki season 1 finale was liked by a lot of people, especially because it was Jonathan Majors' first time as Kang,
hmm,
which was cool. Um, but yeah.
yeah,
So
I guess we'll
this
see.
episode,
They have time to
out
fix
of
it.
10, out of 10,
Just takes it down to a 4 or a 3 for me. I guess
it's
there
like a
were enough
4.5.
things. Yeah, there were enough things that I liked that I could move it up a little bit, but the things that
Yeah.
I didn't like, dude, I just don't like going even if they don't mean it, even if the show is just messing up a little in terms of undercutting Loki, I don't like to be reminded of it. This isn't the same character that we all wanted to see from Thor Ragnarok or even Avengers. This is Loki getting kicked in the balls by whatever her name is repeatedly and begging for her forgiveness. We don't want to see that again. We want to see cool Loki, which we got in the intro, and then the rest of the episode was a little weird.
Dude, I remember being hyped for the Loki show originally because I was like, bro, it's Avengers Loki. Like, he's gonna be
Yeah,
savage.
yeah.
And then the show happened. I was like, what the heck is this?
This took him close to getting savage. There were moments, and then they would do for just one of the scenes. They just undercut it in a way that really bugged me.
It felt like they were teasing it. They're like, oh, you like this? You like this? Oh, forget.
Exactly, exactly. They just cut the
Um,
music, and it's awkward.
hey,
I
maybe they're
hated that
teasing
scene.
for later in the show. I wouldn't mind if we later in the show we see him go full berserk, but I'm not gonna hold
Please
my
do
breath.
it, Marvel. Let us be like, wait, why is this episode rated R? And then just go full send. Please do it.
I'd be okay with this. Dude, at this point, like Atreus, who is technically the Loki from God of War, could probably beat this Loki, and that's kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie. I know I probably just pissed a bunch of people off by saying that, but it's true, and you know it's true.
A couple steps in the right direction, a couple steps backward. Hard to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if we cap it off there, I guess I'm looking forward to next episode because I want to see
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Hopefully in the upcoming, weeks we'll actually have shows coming out that are like actually good. Like
Hmm.
or hopefully they'll be good. Like we got, Invincibles coming out. Attack on Titan, the finale's coming
Oh
out.
yeah.
So hopefully we'll have some stuff that'll be, actually good where we can really get into it. So yeah.
Yeah, we will see you all. I'm sure we'll stream before next Thursday, but in case we don't, we stream every Thursday for now at around 6. We shoot for 6, and then after the episode premieres at 11. And then, maybe fit in a couple Sunday streams or something like that. So,
hmm
yeah.
Well, we will see you guys later. Hey, everyone, comment down below what you thought of Loki season 2. We'll definitely be looking at all of that.
Hmm.
And yeah, we will see you on the next stream.
Yep. Bye.